Hello guys, and welcome to what might be the final episode of this lovely little, well, lovely and somewhat genocidal Vietnam campaign here in Victoria 2 with the historical project mod. So, we probably committed our final genocide in the previous episode, and we have assimilated, quote-unquote assimilated, our lovely little state here, and it is all provinces, with the exception of one, are now Vietnamese majority. Even if it is only a slight majority over here, it's still a majority in my eyes. We could also, in theory, have made a state down in Madagascar. Sadly, we don't have the points to do that, so that's just not gonna happen. Currently, we're building a navy so that we can wreck the Spanish, because for some reason I've decided to liberate the Philippines. Because I don't know, like, blobbing into India is fun and all, but it's not actually that fun, to be honest. Like, it's just, you know, I don't really see the big, you know, point of it. Sure, we'll get a lot of pops, but it's just not as fun. I wanna try and liberate the Philippines instead. Or I don't know, maybe a puppet Burma? Nah, let's not do that. Right now, though, we don't have the infamy to do anything, so for now we're just gonna have to chill and do nothing. Really? The British are trying to force the Germans to become fascist? Ooh, never mind, here we go. If the British and the Russians can actually win this, we don't even have to release the Philippines. The freaking British are gonna do it for us. Yeah, go, fuck, now I sort of almost regret not allying them. Yeah, go Spain. I want to see this. Because if that happens, I can maybe swoop in and puppet them instead. And then we'll have like a cute little Philippine puppet. Oh man, that would be epic. Oi, Britain, let's ally, let's be bros. I want to join. No? Dude, I can totally help you beat up Russia. Or never mind, actually, Russia is in the war together with Britain. Well, I can send my epic navy. My Ebin navy over to Germany and beat them up. Totally. That's how this should work. I don't know. Let's just chill then, and just not do anything for a while, and see how this Great War turns out before we do anything. The Germans have proved previously that they are capable of pushing back the Russians. So, I mean, the Russians tend to do good in the beginning, it seems, but then they just fuck it up when Germany starts gathering their immense strength. Yeah, the Germans have a bigger military score than the Russians do, so it really depends on how well the British are able to intervene in Europe. Oh, Jesus. Here we go. Bunch of my troops just decided to revolt. I don't know. Like, if Victoria 2... Well, I shouldn't say if Victoria 3 happens. When Victoria 3 happens, I really hope they fundamentally change the rebel system. Rebellions should be much rarer and much more severe, I think. I kind of like the system in Hearts of Iron 4. Well, sort of. I mean, it's kind of cool that they that you actually get like legit civil wars rather than just a bunch of rebels with no purpose roaming about. It would be really cool if you could like accurately simulate the Russian Civil War and like actually fight it. That would be pretty memes. So, I don't know though. Jesus, how many people are revolting? Yeah, this also needs to stop. Like, I feel like the AI for rebels needs to be smarter. They need to be able to see that, like, rebelling in at certain times is just pointless because you're not going to be able to win it, you know? They need to be able to judge whether or not a rebellion would be smart or not. Like, having your troops rebel within your army is like, it's just stupid, you know? No people would do that realistically. Like, maybe if you are at war and people feel like deserting or something, they would do it, but they wouldn't just randomly like, oh, well, I'm not in the fucking thing anymore. Or I just ditched the army now. Because fuck it. Labor Union, ooh. Actually, Chantaburi. I don't think, yeah, that's not a very big province, I don't think. So, yeah, they can just die. They can just die, it's not a big deal. It's all good. Yeah, there was something I wanted to do, I forget though. I don't know, let's get good pensions. Some button I wanted to click. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Ah, this is really annoying. I think at least I should have become a great power by now, but sadly, I don't think powers can drop out of a great power status while they are at war. So I'm essentially stuck being a secondary power despite being number 7. That means I've passed up. Yeah, I'm now officially stronger than Spain. Damn it, I want to invade. Fuck Spain, man. Can we... I think I did get an event as well. Yeah, look at that. Now the fucking Germans are fighting back the Russians. Britain, do your job and actually help win this war. Yes, there we are. The shadow of war. We will ally with the Union of Britain. Call me in. I want to fight the Germans. I want to see the German Empire abolished. They really should be like a ask to join war button. I think that was in EU3. I can't remember right now if EU4 has that, but I'm pretty sure EU3 had that. And it was quite nice indeed. Really? Burma is invading China. That is funny. Speaking of China, Jesus Christ, we could actually... Yeah, we could actually invade China right now. Because they have no army anymore. They all got killed by the Russians. I don't know though if I feel like blobbing into China. Nah, go away Burma. You can fight China on your own. I'm honestly not too... I don't know. I feel like we have achieved what we wanted in this campaign. I don't really know what else I can do. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to do, but... As I said, I don't feel like blobbing outside of these borders. I really just want this Great War to end. But Britain refuses to call me into the war, so I'm not allowed to join. I mean, the game is coming to a close here. So I don't know. No! Russia is collapsing! Fuck! Honestly, this war might just wait, or this war might just go all the way until the end of the game. Look at that pitiful score, 500. Ooh, we can build cars now. Yes, build cars. Yeah, I've not been doing very good on upgrading my factories. I need to remember to do that. Yeah, let's build cars here as well. Cars everywhere. We will be the top producers of cars or something. Yeah, I don't know. Unless Spain... Yeah, I don't know. We might just honestly just not do anything until the end of the game at this point. Might want to give India independence though. Not a huge fan of this little blob here. I don't know, it just feels wrong. It's so gamey to blob into India. I'm not necessarily... I'm obviously not saying I'm above doing gamey stuff, but I also value borders. Thing is, like if I want to make like a nice screenshot of my empire, I can easily hide the fact that I blobbed into Korea. But my shame is visible to everyone in India. So, because if I zoom too far in, you don't get to see the name anymore, and you know, name placement. So we need to make sure to have it so that this is pretty. Also, I always forget. Do you get to play in 1936 or piss off the Germans? Ooh, casus belli against the Germans. So had I gotten this a bit earlier, I might actually have decided to invade Germany and help the Russians. But I don't know. I think the war is over at this point. The Russians are collapsing, and the Ottomans are being retaken. Also, look at this. Greece was actually able to successfully take over Southern Macedonia. So good for them. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling motivated to try and save Russia at this point. Oh. Qing communists have enforced their demands. Really? I thought if the Qing... This makes no sense. How can the Qing dynasty still be in power if China is now communist? This makes no sense. They're just called Qing? I thought it was kind of like the Ottomans. Like if a non-monarchical faction comes to power, the dynasty gets thrown away, and shouldn't they just become China now? Maybe actually maybe there is a decision. I think I read about that there is a decision to become China if you're not a monarchy, but the problem might be that they're at war. It might not be possible to do it while at war. Yeah, I can't really come up with any nations you can form while at war, so that is probably the thing. Ah, there it is. Beiyang, China. Really, but they're still at war though, so I guess that was not the thing that decided it. Mongolia, hey, you're independent now. Hey. Britain is no longer a communist or a dictatorship. Let's see how long it takes before the fascists do another coup. So who are you? Really? Galicia Lodomeria is invading Russia? Fucking Baden. Baden is successful. Ah, this is good. This is nice. No good reforms. But yeah, let's see if we can play into 1936 here. Please. Ah, you can't. I'll have to do I'll have to actually save scum then and go back, because I don't want to look through the world with this shit right here on my screen. Okay, so I save scummed and we are now back in December 31st. So yeah, nothing much actually happened in this episode. Sorry for that. This was sort of an anticlimactic end to this this Vietnamese campaign, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, I think it's about time we just quickly look over the world and see what has happened. Although from experience, I have been caught spending quite a lot of time doing that, so we'll see. Ooh, who's occupying this? Reactionaries. Really? Huh. What happens then? What happens if a reactionary... Oh yeah, they become a monarchy, don't they? If you have a reactionary government and a presidential dictatorship and reactionary rebels win, I think you become a monarchy. I wonder what would the name of China be as a monarchy without the Qing? Would they just get a new dynasty? Almost a bit sad now you can't go further into the game and actually see what would happen. But yeah, I think as some last actions, I do want to release India and Bihar. Or, I mean, Bengal and Bihar. I don't think you can release India, to be honest. Although if you can, I might. Nah, it doesn't look like it. Nah, so I'll just release these guys to try and make the map look a little bit better. So they are now gone. That very much reduced our population, but what are you gonna do? So it's really sad. We actually became the 6th strongest power, but we were never able to actually become a great power because this stupid Great War that never ended. So it's kind of annoying as well to have to look at the end screen here and see like this Russian occupied China. Oh well. We can't have everything we want. So yeah. Let's look around. Now I think we all have gotten used to how Asia looks. Australia is pretty normal. Well, that's a weird color. Kind of a mistake, I feel, almost, to make New Zealand the same color as like an uncolonized province, or almost the same color anyways. Kind of looks like they just don't exist. Who ended up taking the Pacific? The Russians did! Wow, really? The Russians colonized the Pacific. Hawaii, really? Hawaii actually remained independent. Yeah, 100% Polynesian. Good for you, Hawaii. Civilized nation. Communist state of Hawaii. That's quite something. The Japanese did grab some islands. Japan has nice borders this game, I think. Yeah, they essentially they've taken all of the islands, basically. Well, I mean, except everything south for Taiwan, but you get the idea. Ooh, Tibet actually became independent, and they still have serfdom. Ah. Oh well. Yeah, so India is a mess. That's the thing. But look at this though. Greater Afghanistan is indeed a thing. Sadly, they were never able to actually civilize, so they're still an uncivilized nation, which is kind of dumb, but there you go. But I think Afghanistan is quite interesting. I mean, if you look on the culture map mode, you can actually see that they successfully assimilated a lot of areas. All of sort of mainland, or you know, the primary areas of Afghanistan, with the exception of Kunduz, are actually majority Pashtun. Yeah, the Persian minority over here almost vanished. And that is despite them actually accepting Tajik. Actually, you can sort of view this sort of Afghanistan as a union between Tajiks and Pashtuns. Sadly, they don't actually own all Pashtun land, and it looks like the Sikhs have been doing quite well in assimilating the Pashtuns over here. But yeah, because there's no Pashtun nation that has cores here. I think don't Afghanistan start out with cores in this area? I think they do. They must have lost them through some events relating to the British conquest of India. And yeah, they also randomly own Kyrgyzstan. And yeah, they also have serfdom. So yeah, this random province up here is a majority Pashtun. There's a lot of Pashtuns up here actually. Hazaras as well. They're from here, aren't they? Yeah. But they're now a minority. So yeah, very interesting Afghanistan. But I'll look more on the culture map mode later. We got a very standard Persia. The Ottomans are also a mess. Yeah. Europe, yeah, this whole area, like what is even going on here? This is actually one of the ugliest campaign I've ever played. It's quite bad. Africa is just fucking a monstrosity. Part of that is my fault, of course, but yeah. Dutch Sana, okay. Yeah, that's all pretty normal. Yeah, look at this. Who thought this was a good idea? This is just blob-tastic right here. Central Europe is a mess. Also, Sardinia Piedmont went fascist in this alternate timeline created by my saves coming. So they are now a fascist dictatorship, which is kind of hilarious, as they are not the nation that have not gotten their core. I mean, look at this. It's pretty amazing that Italy was able to avoid fascism. They're like almost 50% fascist. It is quite extraordinary how fascist they are. Look at this though. Look how many people actually assimilated into Italian culture over here in these Italian holdings. Yeah, 17% South Italian. That's interesting as well. It's actually South Italian, because Italy in this alternate timeline is pretty much all South Italian. The North Italians and the South Italians have their own separate states. You can even see some South Italians moving into Fiume, or however you pronounce that. So that is pretty cool. Yeah, the Germans were never able to form Germany. Despite all that, they're still the most powerful nation in the world. Which is kind of interesting, because they were only able to become the North German Federation, and they don't even control freaking Ostpreußen, so that is weird. Norway is gloriously independent. Man, I need to do a Norway campaign at some point in this game. I just need to figure out how to become independent as Sweden. Like, actually winning the war against Sweden is not actually that difficult. Or, it is difficult, but it is doable. The problem is that Sweden loves to ally the Netherlands and other nations, and it's pretty much impossible for little Norway to successfully defeat the Netherlands, so... yeah. British Commonwealth is a thing. So that's Europe and Asia and Africa. South America is pretty standard, with the exception of the The fact that the Chileans somehow got this territory, they must have colonized it, because I think... Yeah, I don't see how else they would have ended up with just that territory. It's at least something. Cuba and Puerto Rico never got their independence. Actually, Spain did really well this game. They've been able to hold on to all their colonies and have actually gained colonies as well. They did quite well in the race for Africa. So, go Spain, I guess. Oh Jesus, what's going on over here? Canada owns territory over here, and somehow they've been able to keep it from the Americans. Look at that! Fucking Canada has 308 military score compared to the US, who only has 359. Ha! Look at these territories. They're majority Canadian. That's cool. I mean, it does look like the United States took some provinces, because you can see there's a bunch of Canadians hanging out in Oregon and Idaho, but these territories are now American, so... How many people live in Canada? 3 million. Well, I guess that's not that much compared to... Yeah, that's like 10 times as little as the Americans. So I don't really see how they're able to have a comparable war score to the Americans, but whatever. Iceland almost gained their independence. They at least became a puppet. And... Oh Jesus. The Danish successfully colonized Greenland, it looks like. Yeah. We now only have 2% Inuit down in one of the provinces of Greenland. So... I mean, I guess that does mean we should go ahead and look on the culture map mode. So Europe... We have looked at this before, I think. Germany being unable to assimilate the Polish. Austrians being surprisingly efficient at assimilating people. They have made a bunch of German blotches everywhere. A lot of it has to... But look at... No, actually, a lot of them are legitimate majorities. Look at that, 51% German. Vojvodina is completely German. Well, not completely, but pretty darn German. Senj is German. Wow, look at that. They even started work on assimilating Slovenia. That is something. The Russians have, as always, also blobbed out quite a bit, although not in Uzbekistan for some reason. Yeah, the Uzbeks have been able to hold their own. And the Tajiks and Kyrgyz have been saved by the Afghans. Although, to be fair, they have been exposed to Pashtun assimilation rather than the normal Russian. Turkmenistan, though, is a lost cause. And had the game been able to run a bit more, I assume Kazakhstan would have been completely assimilated as well. Although they're not states, they're still colonies. I guess the Russians just haven't been bothered encouraging bureaucrats. Crimea has successfully remained Tatar. I think that's pretty normal though, isn't it? I'm not too sure actually. The Ukrainians have held their ground pretty well. These areas are majority Ukrainian. I don't think that's too abnormal either though. This is interesting though. The Belarusians, they too have been able to do quite well. Yeah, really, Russian assimilation here in the West has not been very successful, except for in this province. But isn't there today quite a lot of Russians in Latvia? I think there is. Not sure. They have tried to assimilate a bunch of the Finns as well. Yeah, a bunch of Swedes in Finland as well. I mean, that's historical though, isn't it? Or I don't know, I never completely understood that. Like, did there used to be a bunch of Swedish people in Finland? Or did they just happen to speak Swedish? Like, were they Finnish people who spoke Swedish? Kind of like how Irish people don't actually speak Irish, they speak English mostly. But they're still Irish? I don't know. Turku. All the islands became Russian by the end of the game. And a bit Polish. And Jewish. Yep, we have already seen how the Ottomans successfully assimilated a bunch of areas. Africa is not too extraordinary. We got the usual blotches of Frenchness that tend to pop up. That's despite these territories not actually being French anymore. The British did quite well though, they have assimilated quite a bunch of Africa. The Boers too have their little area down here, where they are a majority. Then of course there is the glorious Vietnamese Madagascar with the minorities there. I mean, these might have been even bigger if it hadn't been for the fact that I closed the borders, which prevented further emigration to Madagascar. Such a sad thing though that we were not able to make it a state. We weren't even that far away. If we could have gotten like 300 more points, we probably could have successfully integrated those areas. Alas, it did not happen. The Chinese successfully assimilated, what is this? Kashgurga? Yeah, Xinjiang. What is it that the locals call it though? The Uyghur, as I have been told to pronounce it by my Crusader Kings comment section. I don't think the Uyghurs call it Xinjiang, but I'm not entirely sure though. Yeah, and then we of course have our gloriously assimilated Vietnamese nation states, with only a little blotch of Cambodians left, and some Thai people, but you know, that is okay. I mean, I guess had this been an alternate reality, maybe we could have given these like a autonomous province. And yeah, also Portuguese majority in Macau. The Portuguese do actually have a core here, so I guess that's why. How did they do down here? Hey, look at that, a majority Portuguese. Oh, that's a lot of Portuguese people though, actually. Yeah. Yeah, quite a lot of Portuguese people actually migrated down here. And even if the province is a bit of a mess. Yeah, random, yeah, look at that, 100,000. Almost 120,000 people. And almost 70% of them are Portuguese. It's a lot of Portuguese. And down here as well. 67% Portuguese. It's still just a protectorate though, of all things. Ooh, they did actually successfully turn North Angola into a state though. Kind of weird that they didn't successfully do that to any other areas. I guess it might be the distance thing. Also, look at this. They went from 6% last time I checked, and now they have a province with 46% Russians. Yeah, the Russians are monsters when it comes to assimilation in this game. They and the Turks together. They just love assimilating. I don't know what other map modes we can look at. Civilization maybe? Yeah, pretty much everyone except for India and my African states were able to civilize. It's interesting how these Vietnamese minorities have actually stuck around despite the somewhat independent nature of this area. It would have been really cool though if we had managed to take all of Somalia. Then I think we could have established a Somalian state with Vietnamese as their primary culture. That would have been pretty cool. Actually, could we... would that be possible to do in Madagascar? Shit. Should we just try, just to see? Didn't I click a organized Madagascar button at some point? I want to see. I can always just save scum to undo it, so... I want to see what happens. Let's release Madagascar. See what... yeah, look at that! They are Vietnamese primary culture. That's cool. They do accept Malagasy though. And African Minor. But yeah, we got Vietnamese minority rule in Madagascar. That's funny. Oh, so Jesus fucking Christ, Portugal. 717 military score? Jesus. I mean, I guess they did conquer a lot of India, but fucking hell, Portugal. How many people do you have? Yeah, now that I released Madagascar, Portugal has more people than I do. That is something. Also, how did the Vietnamese minorities end up in Korea? Look at that, 7% Vietnamese. That is not very... That is actually pretty impressive. Fuck, maybe if I focused on some of those bureaucrats, I might actually have been able to turn this area into a state. Because it's not as far away as my African holdings, so we might not have needed quite as many colonial points. although I'm not entirely sure how that works. But yeah, ranking. The game claims I am okay. So I do get to get the blue color of a nation who is ranked high enough to be a great power, but sadly I never did become one. Relations. All of Europe hates me except for the British, and Asia mostly likes me except for Siam. Crisis. I don't know. I don't think there is too many other interesting map modes to really look at here. Well, this is interesting. There's fascist loyalty over here. Oh, that's right. These guys did actually become fascist. Maharashtra. The fascist state of Maharashtra. Currently getting invaded by the British, but, you know, cool nonetheless. So yeah, I think that's the end of the campaign, really. We have looked through all the things that I think are interesting. So thanks so much for watching this campaign and this video. One thing I do want to ask you though is that I am open for suggestions for who I should play in this game next. As always, I'm not gonna organize a vote or anything because I have always been honest with the fact that I generally just choose whatever I feel like, but I'm very uncertain at this point. As I said, I have been thinking about doing a Norway campaign finally, because I have been getting a lot of requests to do a Norway campaign, but I just need to figure out a strategy on how to do that. And I don't really have a strategy right now, so... I mean, I don't know, Japan is definitely a nation I would want to try. I would like to try and play as the Shogun and see if I can keep the Shogun in power until the end of the game. That could be interesting. Italy could be interesting, trying to simulate North Africa. Ooh, looks like they actually have successfully done that to some extent. Yeah, got some South Italian minorities over in North Africa. Probably could turn these places into states. I mean, a player of Italy could probably successfully turn a lot of Italy into states. I did also want to try and redo the French campaign at some point, although I'm not quite in the mood for that right now. It would be kind of fun though to try and make the West Bank of the Rhine actually French. So that could be interesting. I never did finish my previous France campaign anyways, so I don't know. Maybe maybe do another Latin America country, Peru, Bolivia, or La Plata are potential nations there. Or I mean, I guess, you know, play as Argentina and form La Plata. Trying to simulate Bolivia into the Platinian culture. That is doable. Persia is definitely a nation I want to do again. I never did post my Persia campaign on YouTube, but I have done a Persian campaign before. Could be fun to try and establish a greater Persia. They have the potential to have some really neat borders. You can see here. Yeah, okay, so the border does not exactly follow the Indus River, but that's sort of the idea. Essentially, conquer Baluchistan, conquer Kandahar and Pashtunistan, and try and maybe take Turkmenia from the Russians, and then you'd have a really cool-looking Greater Persia. Also, potentially some interesting options for assimilation as well. So, I don't know, there's a lot of cool shit you can do in this game. I will wait until the next version of HPM mod though, which I think is coming out soon. Although, by the time of this video being uploaded, like if I had to guess, I would guess that the new version of HPM is out. But, I'm not entirely sure about that. Because I will try and not upload all of these videos at once, so that I can actually have some semi-regular uploads. Although, I mean, you will know how that went, and I don't, because at this point, I've only uploaded episode 6, so not entirely sure. Anyways though, thanks so much for watching this video and this campaign, and until the next campaign, bye.